From Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field in Gainesville, Sports Channel presents the Florida High School Football Championships. Tonight it's the 5A title game between Bradenton Manatee and Fort Lauderdale Dillard. Hello everyone, I'm Larry Vitale along with Jim Yarbrough. Welcome back to Gainesville for the 5th and final state championship game for 1992. And just like we had in the 4A title game with Tallahassee Leon against Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas, here again, two of the traditional powers in Florida high school football.
Larry, the Dillard Panthers have been a strong power in the 4A division for a number of years. Now it's their first opportunity in the 5A division. Coach Ken Scott has installed a one-back offense very similar to that the Miami Hurricanes run, and it's been tremendously popular and successful at Dillard. On team defense, great speed there traditionally.
So we're going to see the Dillard team and their Miami Hurricane offense. For Bradenton Manatee, they are the Hurricanes. Their offense is the eye bone of Coach Joe Kinnan, and it's been very effective with that option.
So effective that every time he's been in a state championship battle, 3 times prior to this, that they've won. So they keep the ball on the ground. They have no pretense about putting it in the air that often. They just try and run over you. And what a great program they've established in Bradenton Manatee.
This is the second year the championship games have been here in Gainesville, the 4th year since they made the move to go from campus sites to neutral sites. But as Art Schifrin tells us, the move to neutral sites has certainly worked out very well for these two schools.
Well, yes, Larry, that's true. Both of these teams do seem to like the neutral sites. Since they went to neutral sites 4 years ago, Manatee is making its 2nd appearance and Dillard its 3rd. Both teams won titles in 1989, Manatee the 5A champion, Dillard the 4A champion. Dillard then lost the following year to Gainesville Buchholz. Well, tonight they fight it out for the 5A championships. We'll see in March whether they will continue with the neutral sites, but tonight they will fight it out, and we will be back with all the action for tonight's game right after this on Sports Channel.
Who's going to get the ball first in this 5A title game. Manatee 12-1 on the year, ranked number 7 in the state of Florida. They're only lost their regular season finale to Bradenton Southeast, a big rivalry there. Southeast won that ball game by a score of 14-9, but Bradenton Manatee 12-1 overall. Dillard won their opening game with Deerfield Beach, but had to forfeit it. Lost a couple weeks later to eventual 4A state champ St. Thomas Aquinas, and Dillard has not lost since, having won their last 9 ball games. In the playoffs for these two teams, for Bradenton Manatee, after finishing up at 9-1, St. Pete, Dixie Hollins, Apopka, and Orange Park. Orange Park was ranked number 1 in the state and was undefeated, and Manatee clubbed them by 20. Apopka also an outstanding team that was expected to be a tough one, and Manatee won it by 14.
I live in Central Florida. I saw Popkin play earlier this year, and they were a terrific team. So the way that Manatee pounded them certainly got my attention.
As for Dillard, after finishing up at 8-2, Coconut Creek fell by 19, then Vero Beach and Miami Senior High School. And the end result, Dillard 11-2, ranked number 6, and they will get the football first in this 5A state championship ball game. Our officiating crew is from the Big Bend Association up in the Tallahassee area. They'll be working today's 5A championship game.
They're the unsung heroes of Friday night football in the state of Florida. Obviously, a very important ingredient to the success of the status of high school football in the state.
There is great high school football in the state of Florida, as we have seen in our first 4 championship game. And we'll find it here in game number 5 if and when it gets going. Some of the Dillard partisans on the near side of the stadium here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida Field in Gainesville. The 1A title went to Jacksonville University Christian. In 2A, it was Frostproof. Dade City Pasco took the 3A title. And in Class 4A, Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas. And now the Panthers of Fort Lauderdale Dillard take to the field. Very nice night for football here in Gainesville. Quite warm, as a matter of fact. 67 degrees at kickoff. just a slight breeze, no mention of rain in the forecast, so should be ideal conditions for Dillard and for Manatee to battle out for the state title. The Dillard band on hand.
This time of year, the weather can be uncomfortable this close to Christmas, but it feels more like September. Fast track out there tonight for this state championship battle.
And there you see over on the Manatee sideline, Bradenton Manatee, state class 5A champions 3 times, winning the title in '89, '85, and 4A champs, back in '83. So they have won 3 state titles in as many championship game appearances. For Dillard, they won the state championship in 4A in '89. The same year Manatee won it in 5A, and they were the runner-up in 1990 to Gainesville's Buchholz High School. And we're just about set for the opening kickoff of the 5A championship game. Stevenson puts a leg into it, kicks it right through the end zone. Dillard's Clarence Gallagher and Eric Hickson back there. Hickson fielded it, could not run it out of the end zone. And that's where we'll start off for the offensive line for Fort Lauderdale Dillard. It's a big group up front. The tackles, Gammons and Davis, both go 255. In the receiving core, they don't throw the ball with great effectiveness in a way. They have 21 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. The top receiver was Williams. And Lamont Kane, the quarterback who runs the show, over 2,000 yards passing. But as we mentioned, those 16 interceptions have been costly. Man in motion. Flag on the play. The pass is caught, but that will not count as the running back was in motion for the Panthers.
Weldon Carter, the wide receiver, on the reception, but as you mentioned, there was movement, and the play will come back. Let's see if we can pick up on the replay. Yep, it's the tailback moving forward toward the line of scrimmage. DeJuan Marshall. Obviously that can't be done, and they start the game with a penalty.
Jim, you talked about the fact they use a one-back set most of the time. Not only that,
illegal motion against a blue team. Replay first
but
down.
they'll alternate up to 4 running backs.
Yeah, a lot of depth, obviously, in that offensive backfield. Give a lot of kids an opportunity to play, and you always got fresh legs on the field.
In their semifinal win over Miami Senior High, each of their top 4 running backs carried the ball once on their first 4 plays from scrimmage. Now let's see what Dillard will go with on 1st down and 15. On the run, on the carry, running right side, and not much there as the Manatee defense closes down. Nick Pagnotta is there at one defensive end spot as we take a look at the Hurricane defensive front wall. Not a big line. Goulash at 265, the only guy on that line over 217. The linebackers are good. Justin Stevens and Chris Smith, both excellent players, and a good secondary as well with Hickson, Murray, and Horns. On 2nd and long, they look to go deep, and they do. The only man there is a Manatee defender, but unable to run it down with excellent coverage is Sammy Hickson. Artie Shaw, the intended receiver.
Artie Shaw streaking down the sideline. The Panthers trying to come up with a big hit early in this championship battle.
There's head coach Joe Kinnan. And he's got a 3rd and long situation against the Fort Lauderdale Dillard offense. A little bit of confusion in the alignment for Dillard. Still plenty of time to get the play off. Kane throws right side. It is tipped and intercepted. Headed back the other way for Manatee is Justin Stevenson. 1st and goal at the 4.
Well, Justin Stevenson ultimately comes up with a ball, but who does it hit first? Let's see if we can pick up the number. It's not Stevenson, it's
Joel Horns, the free safety.
Yeah, it's 24, Joel Horns, the free safety. He could have had the interception, but it bounced right off his chest And Stevenson, the linebacker, said, "Thank you very much, and I'll head for the goal line."
A very strong offensive line for Manatee. At least 4 of those guys will play Division I football. The receiving core, and in the offensive backfield, Willie Taggart, a cat-quick quarterback running the offense. Second man through, and not much running room at all. Chris Hill might have gotten a yard down to the 3-yard line. The defense for Dillard: Dorsey, Bush, Roscoe, and Hall. Roscoe and Dorsey, the top 2 players. Avon Johnson, Richard Lewis, and Dexter McNair handle the linebacking duties. And in the secondary level, Simpkins, Lowe, and Sean Williams.
You'll notice how tightly the Hurricanes pack in around that football with that 3-back offense. It looks like the old T formation right there.
They fake to the second man. Taggart could run for a month as Willie Taggart gets the touchdown for Bradenton Manatee.
Well, great deception on the fake, the first fake to the fullback. They seal off all those blue jerseys inside, and as you mentioned, he could have still be running if he had not had to stop there and turn around in the end zone.
Got to give the ball back.
What a start for the Hurricanes, huh? Big turnover, and then great efficiency with their running attack immediately.
And Manatee uses a timeout. They only had 10 players on the field for that extra point. I've never understood why teams don't decide, take the delay a game. It just adds 5 to the extra point and save that timeout.
Well, they could, but they're not thinking that clearly, obviously. What happens, too, on a quick score, a turnover, a quick score, everybody's cheering along the sideline. They forget to go in the game, you know. They're so excited. Way to go. And then they go over and drink Gatorade. In the meantime, everybody's looking for him out on the field. I'm sure that happened to you before, Larry, right?
My team's never scored. I used to go over and hang out with the band, trying to swap uniforms.
Well, I'm sure that's what happened. The kids were so excited along the sideline that someone just flat out forgot to get on the field.
Tell you, Robert Stevenson, who kicked off the opening kick through the end zone, now prepares for the extra point for Manatee. Just a sophomore, and we saw how strong his leg is.
Left-footed soccer-style kicker. Kickoff from the 40-yard line, and he boomed it.
Still not ready to continue here. And for Dillard now, they've got to regroup mentally and emotionally after getting the opening kickoff and almost surrendering a score before they had a chance to get a few plays off. The extra point is up, and it is good. And with just 1 minute 49 seconds off the clock, Bradenton Manatee has an early 7-0 lead on Coach Ken Scott and his Fort Lauderdale Dillard Panthers. Ken Scott was the defensive coordinator for many years under Otis Gray, who was the head coach at Dillard for a long time. In fact, played for Otis Gray at Dillard, and continues a tradition of Dillard grads becoming the head football coach.
In his second year as the head man, and the first year this program has been in 5A. I think we mentioned that, and what a year it's been for him, huh? The first year in 5A, and they go all the way to the state championship battle. But I'm sure he's a bit shaken with these early events here, and he's got to get his team to regroup and come back against this Hurricane group.
While they're celebrating on the Manatee sideline, Bradenton Manatee gets set to kick off again to Dillard. Tough drive, huh? 2 plays, 4 yards.
Yeah, the most impressive thing is 4 yards. I mean, the turnover obviously put him in a can't-miss situation.
Pretty impressive to use up 53 seconds on only 2 snaps.
Well, also, like you said, it was literally a gift. They spotted him 7 points, literally, by that turnover.
Stevenson approaches the ball, and another high, deep kick. You cannot run it out of the end zone in high school football. So once again, Dillard will start back at its own 20-yard line. And remember, they had that 5-yard penalty that took away a 19-yard gain on their first play from scrimmage on their opening possession.
Lamont Kane, the quarterback, in his first year really as the starter. He was a backup last year, but he's highly recruited. He's a tremendous athlete, and I'm sure he'll get this Panther offense cranked up.
Running inside, looking for room, not much there. On the carry for Dillard, that's Dwan Marshall, stopped by Justin Stevenson.
Also Todd Murray, the strong safety, up there aggressively. You know, when you have one back up there, you're kind of tipping your hand, obviously, that if anybody's going to run the ball, it's that guy standing back there all by himself. So those two inside linebackers are keying, obviously, on the one back.
Eric Hickson is now that one back. He gets the ball. Hickson's got 5, he's got 10, and he's up to the 35-yard line. So Hickson rips off a 13-yard gain and a Dillard first down.
Now that time they were keying on Hickson, they just couldn't catch him. You know, it was a straight off tackle play. Hickson, again, one of those talented backs with 875 yards coming into tonight's ball game that you mentioned, Larry, will alternate on the field in that one back slot.
Keeping it on the ground. That's tailback number 3 in the rotation, Chris Roach. And he gets about 8. There you see Roach, almost 600 yards, 8 touchdowns. The 3 tailbacks combined have over 2,200 yards and 19 touchdowns.
And now the 4th is on the field, Ken Fillmore, number 21.
And they give it to Fillmore, who's got the biggest hole of the bunch. Fillmore inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line.
All 3 of those plays have come off the left side of the formation. You see Justin Stevenson, number 31, overrun the play right there. Now they got that big blue offense cranked up.
On 1st and 10 from the Manatee 37, a flag's on the play. Movement before the snap. We'll see which side it's on. False start on Dillard. It'll be 1st down and 15.
Well, after having so much success running the football, they have the mental mistake. The flag flies and they got to go backwards for 5 yards.
False start against the offense. Replay, 1st down.
Eric Hickson checks into the lineup at tailback for Dillard. 7-0 Manatee on top. Early stages of this 5A championship game.
Look at the depth of the inside linebacker.
There's another movement. That's on the tight end on the left side, but nice tackle by Chris Smith stops Dillard for no gain. And they may turn down this illegal movement.
We'll get an idea of the depth of the inside linebackers here. The 4-man front. You see him quickly move to the left. And that time it was Chris Smith, number 52, making the hit.
Decline, 2nd down.
They did turn down the penalty after the play gained about half a yard. So it is 2nd down. Chris Smith, Justin Stevenson. We'll be calling their names a lot tonight, Jim. Both excellent linebackers. Kane right side, he's got his man, and that's a 1st down. Weldon Carter short of the 1st down. I'm sorry, inside the 30 at the 29.
Weldon Carter coming into this championship battle had 15 receptions for 281 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's he and Chris Williams that are the primary targets.
You see Carter almost 19 yards per reception. Got 13 on that one to bring up 3rd down. There's movement again on the line for Dillard.
Well, they've had 3 illegal procedure penalties in this one series. They had one additional one, I think, than the prior series, and that's enough procedure penalties to last you 4 ball games, much less
Dead
1
ball,
quarter.
false start, offense, 3rd down.
And now instead of 3rd down and about 3, they've got to get 8 yards.
Let's see if we can. The quarterback's checking off and both guards move. Obviously you can't check off if you'd called first sound.
Kane on the run, in trouble, looking and throws it deep downfield. It's caught inside the 10 and down to the 4-yard line. Chris Williams.
Well, somehow Lamont Kane gets rid of the ball, and he does so in a fashion that it can float into the arms of Chris Williams, who is uncovered. There you see Lamont Kane getting up, and he says, "Did we catch it? Did anything good happen?" A beautiful job by Kane, and look, no one's around Chris Williams at all. They simply left him alone after the quarterback started sprinting out of the pocket.
Eric Hickson in the lineup at tailback. Breaks off 1 tackle and fights down close to the 2-yard line.
Todd Murray, the strong safety, crowding the line of scrimmage there, much like a linebacker. In short yardage situations, you'll see that strong safety, or goal line situations, you'll see him crowd that line of scrimmage, especially if he doesn't have pass coverage responsibilities immediately.
Now Chris Roach, a senior with 8 touchdowns, is in at the running back spot on 2nd down and goal. 3 wide receivers. Roach to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown.
Well, the biggest obstacle that the Panthers had to overcome on that drive was their own mental mistakes, I think. They were really picking up huge chunks of yardage with that 1-back running game, but then they kept hurting themselves with those penalties, but they were able to overcome that and tie this thing up, or at least have a chance to right now.
And the extra point is up and good. So Bolden converts the extra point, and we are all tied at 7.
You see the culmination of a great drive by the Panthers, and this championship battle is tied 7-7.
The Miami Heat is celebrating its 5th anniversary this season on Sports Channel with great basketball action for you. Be sure to tune in and watch the Miami Heat as they battle the NBA's best, like the Bulls, Lakers, Knicks, Celtics, and more. Miami Heat basketball only on Sports Channel, the home of the Heat. Be sure to check your local listings for availability in your area. Joe Kinnan cannot be happy about his defense, which was to a large extent pushed all over the field on that drive. Dillard picked up big chunks, going 80 yards in 9 plays, and you can add 15 to that for the illegal procedure penalties they had to compensate for over the course of the drive.
Yeah, so Manatee scores rather easily. Dillard scores in a more difficult fashion, and we are really not sure which team is best right now. This is exciting high school football with a lot yet to be played.
Alton Bolden to kick it off for Dillard. Dillard was offside. They'll have to kick it again. That is a dead ball penalty in high school. In college, they throw the flag, let the play go. But in the high schools, that's a dead ball foul. They move it back 5 yards and kick off again. Ken Scott's team, obviously with talent, but the little things, these little penalties, have certainly had an impact in the early part of this game.
Well, they were able to overcome the illegal procedure penalties, but again, this is just a kind of a sloppy play type of penalty. You got to have a little bit more discipline. You got to be excited, and you got to fly down the field, but you got to wait till the ball's kicked.
So from the 35-yard line, Bolden will try to kick off again. 7-7 tie. We have played less than 6 minutes in this Florida Class 5A title game. Manatee probably expected a pretty high scoring game. They have been in a couple of shootouts this season. Fielded by Wiggins back on the 8-yard line. Chevin Wiggins through the pack across the 35 and up to the 38-yard line. So the junior tailback, who's also an excellent returner with a 30-yard return on that kickoff, Keith Shakes makes the tackle for Dillard.
Chevin Wiggins almost finds a crack, but did he hit it? You know, that's the way to return a kick. He broke the first attempted tackle easily and picked up another 7 or 8 yards after he hit the first guys in blue.
On first down, they pitch it to Wiggins. Wiggins has about 2, maybe 3 yards before he's dropped. Todd Carter makes the tackle defensively for Dillard at around the 40-yard line.
Now, we talked about the alternating backs in the Panther attack. Well, that's not the case at Manatee. It's Chevin Wiggins who's the primary ball carrier. And look at those numbers right there coming into tonight's battle. Over 1,400 yards, 7.8 yards per carry. So he's the real thoroughbred in that stable of the Hurricanes.
But they will run the fullback, Hill, and Hill there picks up about 7 and is pretty close to first down yardage. They'll spot him down at the 47-yard line. He'll need about a half a yard for the first down. Chris Hill, 180-pound junior, averages 5 a pop. You see he has scored 8 touchdowns. Taggart, Hill, and Wiggins, the three men in the backfield for Manatee, are all juniors. They will all be back. In fact, Manatee only starts 4 seniors on offense. This will be a very good team next year, as Joe Kinnan's teams always seem to be very good. There's Hill with a big hole. Hill to the 46 of Dillard and a first down. Richard Lewis got a shoestring tackle and held on.
One of the biggest tackles in the state of Florida, right tackle Keith McMahon, number 76, 6'6", 300-pound senior. Alongside him, Dan Locker at 190, but he's 6'3". And then Pat Klein, the center, 6'4", 230. Excellent movement that time by that front wall of the Hurricanes.
And they have a 1st and 10 at the Dillard 46. There's the fullback again. He's got 11 yards and another first down. Pat Lowe, the free safety, makes the tackle, but Manatee ripping big holes in the middle of the Dillard defense.
Watch the right guard trap. Number 61, Dan Locker, throws the trap block, beautifully executed. Quick trap to the fullback. And you see why Chris Hill has picked up all the yards that he has, over 800 during the year.
And Dillard has called a timeout to regroup defensively, so Joe Kinnan out on the field to talk with his offense, and that line has got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. Scott Boyce, Brad Loudermilk, Klein, Latcher, and McMahon across the front wall has been a dominating unit all year long for Joe Kinnan and Bradenton Manatee, and they are having an excellent drive so far here with 3:56 to go in the opening quarter. The broadcast rights to today's telecast have been granted to Sports Channel Florida by the Florida High School Activities Association solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of this program without the express written consent of Sports Channel Florida is prohibited. Along with Art Schifrin and Jim Yarbrough, this is Larry Vitale with you from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, where Bradenton Manatee and Fort Lauderdale Dillard are all tied at 7.
When you have a trapping offense, in addition to the option, you have to have guards that can run, and Dan Latcher did a beautiful job on the last trap, as we saw. There we get a look at the Dillard fans that have come all the way up from Fort Lauderdale to cheer on their Panthers.
As we've mentioned, Dillard in the state finals for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. They missed it last year. They won the title 3 years ago and lost the championship game 2 seasons back. Again, the fullback, nothing much there, might have gotten a yard, yard and a half. Lewis straightened up and drove back Chris Hill. Number 89, Ronnie Smith there in your picture, junior tight end for Bradenton Manatee. In their 3 playoff games, Manatee has scored 111 points. 36, 38, 37 in their 3 games. 2nd and 9. Fighting his way, stumbling through traffic is Wiggins. He might have gotten 3 down to the 31.
That time, Larry, they pulled Dan Latcher, the right guard, and the huge Keith McMahon. Watch the right tackle, number 76. Look at how quickly he gets out there and gets a piece of one of the guys in blue. Actually kind of lays on him and finishes him off at the end. But that's the dimension I was talking about. If you're going to trap and pull folks, you got to have guys up front that can move. And certainly the Hurricanes are proving that that's the case with their offensive unit.
Willie Taggart, who completes over 60% of his passes, facing a 3rd down and 6, and they don't get the play off in time. So it'll become 3rd and 11. Oh, for the first time, Manatee with a infraction on the offense that cost them 5.
Dead ball foul, delay of game, white, 3rd down.
That's a difficult penalty, especially on 3rd down. Puts the Hurricanes in a almost obvious passing situation.
3 men split out. One of them comes in motion. Taggart running the option, pitches it back to Williams, or Wiggins rather. Chevin Wiggins didn't get much, got the penalty yardage back, and that's about it. And it'll bring up a 4th down from around the 30-yard line. And we'll see just how strong this leg of Robert Stevenson is, perhaps, as the kicker checks into the lineup for Bradenton Manatee and will attempt a 46 or 47-yard field goal here in the 5A title game. He'll spot it just outside the 37, so it'll be a 47-yarder. We have seen Stevenson kick off twice, both times into the end zone, so his leg is plenty strong enough. You'll look at it from the end zone. There's a line drive kick, and it is good. A 47-yarder for the sophomore lefty sidewinder, and Robert Stevenson has broken the tie and put Manatee back on top.
Chevin Wiggins did a great job of getting that ball down for the place kicker.
Now they're celebrating on the Manatee sideline. Let's watch it.
You see the perfect snap and the excellent hold gives Robert Stevenson a chance to get it done, and did he ever do it? Whoa! Look at the height on that ball as it went through there.
As we mentioned, Robert Stevenson, the kicker for Manatee, just a sophomore. I think he could get a college scholarship on that kick alone, plus those 2 kickoffs.
Well, he's certainly getting the attention of a lot of coaches tonight. I'll guarantee you that. A lot of the Florida coaches are from around the state. They're here trying to make an impression on these kids, and the kids are also getting a chance to make an impression on those coaches.
For some of them, the impression's been made, but for a lot of others, they can certainly open some eyes with a forum such as this one. Coaches all over the country who are not here at the game, I'm sure, tuned in, taking a look at some of these players. Stevenson with a kickoff. Look at this one go. About 5 yards deep. 3 kickoffs, 3 touchbacks for Robert Stevenson.
Well, this is obviously the best kicking game that we've seen in the state championships here in the 1992. And as we get into the bigger school divisions, certainly a lot of the kids have a chance to play organized soccer in the bigger metropolitan areas. And I'm sure there's a lot of high school football coaches that talk to their soccer coaches and ask if they can get a kid like Robert Stevenson to come out and kick a few.
I tell you, more teams should have soccer programs then, because that kid has one of the strongest legs I've seen in a lot of years of high school football. Up the gut they go, nothing there. In to stuff the play right away, Chris Smith, the inside linebacker, joined by Justin Stevenson, and at the bottom of the pile is the nose guard, Pat Green.
There you see Chris Smith quickly keying on the one back. If he gets in there cleanly, if there's not a blocker in his face, he's going to be meeting that tailback at the line of scrimmage quite often, or the one back, as it were.
And that one back is Eric Hickson right now as Dillard looks at 2nd and 10. 3 wide receivers split out to the right. Give is to Hickson. He's hit at the 21, dropped at the 22-yard line. Again, the Manatee defense is there, led by Stevenson and Smith. Also, Matt Moore, the right tackle, in on the play.
31 and 52. You see Justin Stevenson cheating over before the ball was snapped even. Maybe he was reading something in the alignment there that led him to believe the ball was coming over there.
On 3rd down. Right side, the pass is caught. Immediately knocked to the ground, Kevin Jackson, but he's got the 1st down at the 32-yard line.
Demetrius Murray, number 12, delivers the hit to Kevin Jackson. Kevin Jackson runs about a 10-yard hook. Lamont Keene has excellent protection, really gets the ball off well. And the defensive back really took the blow there too. He delivered it, but he also received it.
1st and 10 from the 32. The give is to Fillmore. Fillmore, another big hole opens up, and he rambles up to the 45-yard line. He's the running back who gets the least duty, but today he has gotten 2 big carries and picked up 34 yards.
This time it's a missed. Well, actually not so. Both inside linebackers were blocked. I thought there was a missed tackle, but you can't make the tackle with a big lineman in your face, and that's what happened. That was excellent execution by the Panther offensive line.
And that run will mark the end of the 1st quarter of the Florida Class 5A state championship game. 17 points on the board. Bradenton Manatee leads 10-7.
Taking TV anywhere is easier than ever with Bright House, because now you can watch the ESPN.
4 state champions have been crowned, and we're working on the 5A championship right now. Bradenton Manatee 10, Fort Lauderdale Dillard 7. Dillard trying to bring a 2nd state championship back to Broward County. Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas, the winners in the 4A championship matchup. Well, it's been a good year for the Midwestern part of the state, I suppose, with Frostproof and Dade City Pasco having state championships. Manatee working on that. Big hole opens up right side. Down the sideline, Dwan Marshall inside the 35, and he has a 1st down at the Manatee 32. 23 yards on the play.
You see Dwan Marshall get outside. There's the missed tackle right there by Chris Smith. Finally, from behind, it's Jason Johnson, the defensive end, who had to pursue downfield and make the tackle.
Johnson, a 6'2", 175-pound junior. If you look at the Manatee roster, not that many seniors. Most high school championship teams are senior dominated. Manatee certainly has some key seniors, but it's a pretty young ball club. On 1st down, Hickson hit in the hole and dropped immediately by Chris Smith after a gain of a couple.
You know, when that back bounces outside, you got to get some help from your cornerbacks. They need to come up and support. You can't ask those inside linebackers to run sideline to sideline to make tackles on swift tailback type athletes. You need some help from your guys on the corner, and right now it's just the inside linebackers that are getting it done.
4 wide receivers on the field on a 2nd down play from the 29 of Manatee. The fake to Roach. Kane throws incomplete, almost intercepted by Joel Horns. Timed it well, just couldn't make the catch.
Joel Horns had an interception right there, playing free safeties in center field. You got trip receivers to the right side. There's the inside slant. Horns reads it all the way. Just can't come up with the grab. It looked like Tobias Simpkins was running that route. Couldn't pick up that number.
On third down, they go with the run. Fillmore to the 20-yard line. He's got the first down. Was he down? The ball was loose. And they say he was down at the 20-yard line. So it'll be a first down for Dillard at the Manatee 20.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where the ground cannot make you fumble. Let's see Fillmore. Yeah, as he hits the ground, the impact jars the ball loose, and good call and a good first down again by Dillard.
Dillard with an excellent drive. We have a loose strap on those shoulder pads, I suppose, getting it worked on. The offensive tackle, Marlon Davis. And Dillard looks to keep their drive going at the Manatee 20 with a first down. Dwan Marshall in at the running back spot. He gets the call. Marshall bounces outside, but making the tackle nicely is Justin Stevens.
Well, I think all we have to do is talk about a couple of guys on the tackles. Not that anyone else is not doing their part. I mean, obviously the guys up front, you see they all get pinned inside, but what happens is there's no one left to block the inside linebackers. And if Stevenson hadn't made the tackle, Chris Smith was standing right behind him. Little salute to the crowd there by Stevenson.
Justin Stevens, a 6'2", 212-pounder. There's Hickson. And Hickson gets it down to the 11-yard line, just shy of the first down.
Again, Justin Stevenson on the tackle, but not after the 5 or 6 yard gain. Some of those guys wearing the white jerseys on the defensive line have to start making some things happen at the line of scrimmage. We're talking about Pat Green, the nose guard, number 44, Matt Moore, the big right tackle, Steve Goulash, the left tackle. They've got to help those inside linebackers out a little bit.
Third down and a yard. 10th play of this drive for Dillard. Right up the gut. First down yardage and more inside the 5-yard line for Chris Roach. Matt Moore made the tackle, but it's first and goal for Dillard.
A very impressive drive here. Power football, one back offense. We're coming right at you. You can't stop us. That's the kind of attitude that Dillard has right now. Manatee has to really dig in. The ball's inside their 5-yard line, and the Panthers have first down.
In the goal line defense, confusion for Manatee, and the confusion helps. As busting in there to make the play, Steve Goulash along with Jason Johnson. You wanted the guys up front to do something, they did.
Let's take a look at Goulash, the left tackle, number 74. Look at the slant. He beat the block of number 67. Melvin Williams, the right guard. That's the way to go.
Now the officials have brought the captains of the two units together. This may be the old trash talking warning being given to both sides. Lamont Kane. I don't know if this is the time when you try to find out what you can and can't say. Ron Zook, the University of Florida defensive coordinator. Skip Foster, the Gators assistant swim coach, among those in attendance here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Second down and goal from the 7. Kane wanted to throw a quick slant, couldn't do it. Now he's in trouble. Gets out of trouble, flag on the play. That'll be a clip. The throw is caught for a touchdown, but I'm sure we're going to have clipping called on Dillard as a flag was thrown back around the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Robert Archer, number 4, catches a touchdown that will not count. This play is not designed to have Lamont Kane whirl around like this. He had no choice. You know, he was in trouble immediately because Steve Goulash was chasing him. Once he does reverse his field, he's got plenty of opportunity right here, but someone behind him, and for no reason, really, it wasn't going to make a difference on the play, decided to make a hit in the back.
Dillard player shaken up in the end zone.
Looks like he just had the air knocked out of him for a moment. We don't have a number there on our roster for 7.
He's not really there.
We apologize, but we don't have a 7 on our roster.
So we'll find out who that young man is, but the clip was on the 25-yard line. I think we had it, Jim, on that replay as Kane started to roll to his right.
I have a clip on the blue team with.
And that, from the spot of the foul, puts it all the way to the 40.
Now we're going to get a chance to see it, I think. Marlon Davis, well, I don't know about that. He was just diving. Maybe that was the call. It was really close. He was just throwing his body out there, and he barely winged the guy.
There you see the 5th penalty already on Dillard. And here's a situation you see all the time. 2nd and goal from the 40. And they run a draw play. And that'll be good for about 12 yards to bring up 3rd and goal at the 28. Nick Pagnotta makes the tackle defensively for Manatee. As Dwan Marshall.
We might see something, like you said sarcastically, that we see all the time. They might actually make this from the 40-yard line, 40 yards and goal. That was a healthy gain, wasn't it, right there on 2nd down?
Well, it's a 3rd down situation for Dillard. 4 receivers out in the pattern. Kane in trouble. Throws the ball up for grabs. It's caught for a touchdown by Weldon Carter. He has got to have a shamrock in his pocket somewhere. 28 yards. I don't know if Kane even knew who was out there.
I can't believe it either. I'm in shock. He seemed just to be throwing the ball away, and I thought, uh-oh, he's throwing it up for grabs. Perhaps it'll be intercepted, but as we talked about that 2nd and a goal from the 40, and they do it.
Bolden's extra point is good. And that makes it a 14-10 ball game.
Well, obviously, this is hard to describe. Lamont Kane, the play breaks down. He runs to the left, turns around, seems to find Carter. Just over the hands of Demetrius Murray, number 12.
And then Horns tried to cut in front and catch it.
Yeah, Joel Horns went for the interception instead of leaping to knock the ball down, and I think Carter's as surprised as anyone in the stadium by his expression.
Except maybe Lamont Kane, the quarterback, his 22nd touchdown pass, and tell you, a great effort by Kane to get that ball down near the goal line where something could happen for his team. And Fort Lauderdale Dillard, from a 2nd and goal at the 40, scores. So much for the theory you want to get teams in tough down and distance situations.
Well, we talked about the Panthers overcoming those illegal procedure penalties on their first score. Look what they overcame right there.
A clipping penalty that in essence was a 33-yard penalty. And they still get the touchdown. Wiggins fields the ball back at the 3-yard line, and he's tripped up, dives forward to about the 24. And then a late personal foul flag is going to be thrown on Justin Stevens, who ran into a Dillard player after the play was over, and Manatee will be stuck with a 1st down and about 22 yards to go back at the 12-yard line. Joe Kinnan can't be happy about that penalty.
Yeah, it was just a loss of poise right there by Justin Stevens.
So they'll move it back to around the 12 or 13 yard line, and it will be 1st and long for Bradenton Manatee right after giving up a touchdown when it appeared the penalty would stop Dillard on the drive. Now Manatee's got a very tough situation.
We have a dead ball personal foul against the white team. 1st down.
They mark the ball just outside the 12-yard line, and they'll have to get to the 35, so just about 23 yards to go for Bradenton Manatee, and this is a team that believes in running the football. Taggart on the option, keeps it. He's got about 6 yards up to the 18 before he is wrapped up. James Roscoe, Derek Hicks there defensively. There you see all the offense Fort Lauderdale Dillard has mustered here in the opening half.
And that one-back offense is really working, and some of those excellent, miraculous pass receptions certainly haven't hurt as they've piled up those yards.
Taggart again. No one to pitch it to, gets about a yard before he's dropped by Aben Johnson.
James Roscoe, also the defensive end, doing a beautiful job there on the option, forcing the quarterback, Willie Taggart, to go inside. And once Willie Taggart goes inside, there's nothing but blue jerseys there.
So it's 3rd down from the 19-yard line. They need 16 for a 1st down. Taggart in trouble, will be hit and spun to the ground at the 20-yard line. Cornelius Hall, sophomore defensive end, makes the play, and Manatee will have to kick it back to Dillard.
Now the big guys up front for the Dillard Panthers are really getting it done right now. You see Hall pursuing from his right defensive end position. Just a sophomore, you mentioned. A lot of good Friday nights ahead for him.
6'3", 200-pounder. That's excellent size for a 10th grader. Stevens with the punt. Pretty good one. Hits at the 45, and he'll get about 5 or 6 more on the roll all the way down to the 40-yard line. A 40-yard punt with no return for the Bradenton Manatee punter. And Fort Lauderdale Dillard, whose offense is driven a long way on its last 2 possessions, has the ball at the 40-yard line with 5 minutes to go here in the 1st half.
Well, certainly the momentum is with the guys in blue right now, and that Hurricane defense has to reestablish something if they hope to get the ball back and perhaps get a chance to get points on the board before this half is over. Right now, the Panthers are in control.
Every time Manatee has had pressure on Kane, he's gotten away from it. They run it on 1st down, nothing at all there. Goulash and Smith there defensively for Manatee. So Marshall checks out of the lineup. And another tailback. Hickson will check in. 14-10 our score. Dillard leading Manatee. 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the opening half of the Florida Class 5A state championship game. On the slant, broken up and almost intercepted by Demetrius Murray.
Like Joel Horns as well in coverage.
We're at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida Field in Gainesville, the site of the Florida High School Football Championships. 4 state titles have been decided. The 5A title on the line in this game between Fort Lauderdale Dillard and Bradenton Manatee. We have 4 minutes to go in the opening half with Dillard up by a score of 14-10. Along with Art Schifrin and Jim Yarbrough, I'm Larry Vitale. Glad you're tuned in wherever you're watching Sports Channel. Hope you're enjoying the ball game.
Can't beat that. 5 of 5 on 3rd down conversions.
Throws deep, incomplete. Up there trying to make the catch was Horns. He couldn't bring it in, but Dillard stopped on 3 plays, and they'll have to kick it back to Manatee with 3:54 to go.
Joel Horns cannot believe that he's yet to get an interception. This is about the 2nd time tonight. Look at this. Oh, he makes a great leaping effort, but not able to make the grab as Kane had thrown behind his receiver who was running a quick post route.
And Roach, who averages just 27.4, snapped right over his head. Roach going back, picks it up at the 10-yard line, and he will be hit and tackled at the 8. Flag on the play. That'll be clipping, and Manatee will have the ball inside the Dillard 10.
It was mistakes.
Well, just a complete breakdown because of the high snap. They're not able to get the ball off.
The officials huddle around, but I saw the clip on the part of a Dillard player while they were scrambling for the loose ball.
Here comes the call.
They'll decline that. There you see Roach. I don't know if he's injured or just extremely upset with what happened. He was getting his leg twisted around a bit as a Manatee player had grabbed him, and he was trying to spin loose and was unable to do so. Let's go down to the field to Art Schifrin.
That play was very reminiscent of the Gainesville-Buchholz game against Dillard 2 years ago in the championship. The Dillard was very ineffective in their kicking game, including snapping the ball over the punter's head, and that really cost them in that game against Buchholz. We'll see if it cost them here tonight.
Let's see what happens to Roach here. Oh, his leg's getting twisted, then he gets hit in the back. Chris Roach really took a pounding right there. At first he seems to be okay as he gets up, but
well, what a huge break for Bradenton Manatee. You know, they're hoping to get the ball around the midfield stripe or something like that, and they get it at the 8-yard line.
You recall the distance of the Hurricane scoring drive before?
4
yards.
2 plays.
Look at this one.
Might take them 4 plays.
It's 8 yards, huh?
Apparently, it's got to be that left leg or his right leg, the way he was twisting around like that. Well, maybe not.
But then he also got hit in the back, Larry, with the third guy there hit him in the back. He was twisted and beaten up all in one outing. He said, "Hey, I just went out there to punt the ball." You know, what's happening here?
Okay, Goulash gets him around the leg.
Yeah, big Goulash. He's one of the strongest guys on the field. Now watch this hit. This is the one right here.
Ow. 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. And there's a flag on the play. We're going to have motion on Manatee, and that's a costly 5 yards in this situation. 3:34 to go in the first half. Bradenton Manatee down by 4. And they'll have 1st and goal at the 13.
Well, I don't think it was obvious that someone jumped, but evidently there was a little bit of movement. And of course, a little bit of movement's a violation too, but we didn't pick it up initially.
We have a dead ball penalty, false start on White, replay 1st down.
Oh, that hurts big time. You're on the 8, 1st down. Now you're on the 13.
Plenty of time to go here in the first half, still over 3 minutes. Let's see what Manatee goes with. They've been outgained by a bunch, but if they could get 13 yards in their next 4 plays, they'll have the lead. On the option, Taggart is hit and stumbles down at the 1, couldn't get his balance back. Otherwise, he had a lot of running room.
Cornelius Hall did a beautiful job right there. We talked about the pressure on the end as he sees the option coming at him. And again, he's going to force the quarterback inside. Look at that play right there. He doesn't make the tackle. He trips him up, but forces him inside where he can't do as much damage. There's no tailback to pitch to once he eats the ball inside.
Manatee got good yardage with the fullback, and they go to the fullback. Nice call, touchdown.
Chris Hall on the quick reverse out from Willie Taggart. Watch Willie Taggart reverse out from center. Hands the ball off with his left hand to Chris Hill, who's hitting the hole so quickly. Actually, Larry, I think that's the same play that they ran when they were when they had the illegal procedure penalty, and it seemed to be open on that occasion too.
The extra point is good for Robert Stevenson. So Stevenson with a pair of extra points and a field goal, and with 2:37 to go in the first half, it is now 17-14 in favor of Bradenton Manatee, and that bad snap on the punt really hurts Dillard as it hands Manatee 7 more points.
Oh, Dillard's been Manatee's best friend out there tonight. Look at this.
Gave him a touchdown drive of 4 yards for a touchdown, now an 8-yard touchdown drive, both taking 2 plays. The penalty of 5 yards, why the touchdown run is longer than the drive itself.
So let's see, 8 and 4 is 12 yards in total offense on those 2 drives and 14 points. You'll take that anytime, wouldn't you?
Manatee did drive about 38 yards to set up their field goal opportunity, and that is the difference in the game right now, is the field goal.
Yeah, that was Robert Stevenson. And how long was that field goal? 47.
Stevenson looking for his 4th touchback in as many kickoffs.
I'm going to give it to him right now. I think it's a given.
It's going to be close. Nope. Got it to the 1 with plenty of hang time, and as a result, slipping to the ground at about the 18-yard line is Anthony Roll on the return. So Dillard is inside the 20 as we go back down to Art.
Well, Robert Stevenson has consistently put the kickoffs into the end zone until that play there, but he has made a 47-yard field goal already tonight, and he has told me that he's made field goals in practice up to 60 yards, and the coach will let him take them in the game up to 55.
Wow, that's a lot of confidence, isn't it? Because if you miss, right, they come back at you at the line of scrimmage.
And you saw the little decals on the back of his helmet. Makes out the goalposts. Up the middle on the run. That's Hickson, I believe. No, Marshall. Marshall picks up a few.
I'm sure Coach Joe Kinnan says he can put daisies on his helmet if he wants to, if he can make 47-yard field goals, huh?
I want to be there when someone asks him. Give him 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6. Dillard not in a hurry with 1:52 to go. Clock running in the first half. 17-14 is the score.
Well, Dillard's got to be shocked, you know. They've really out-muscled Manatee, with the exception of those bad plays that gave tremendous field position to the Hurricanes.
Kane incomplete. Climbing the ladder but not able to get up and catch the ball was Robert Archer.
Steve Goulash, number 74, this time coming in over Marlon Davis, the right tackle, number 75. That's a good matchup.
Nice job by Hickson, having to pick up the big 265-pounder.
That tells his offensive tackle, thanks a lot, you know. How about slowing him down a bit before he gets to me?
Man in motion on 3rd and 6, quarterback draw. Kane could have gone straight ahead for the first down. Instead, he runs wide and does not pick it up. Lamont Kane gives up the first down. It'll be 4th and 2.
Todd Murray, the strong safety, only 5'7", 150. All kinds of real estate in front of Lamont Kane. He saw Stevenson closing quickly on him, so he's tried to go left, and Todd Murray was hanging on his shoulder pads, denying the first down.
And Manatee quickly calls a timeout with 1:16 to go. They want Dillard to snap it again on a punt. Of course, Roach, the punter, was shaken up on the play.
Now that's an excellent point. So the center obviously is a bit shaken because of his experience too.
Coach Ken Scott just wants to get into the locker room with a 17-14 score now. In fact, Roach is not going out there. They have the whole punt team on the sideline.
In high school football, the coach can join his team on the field, or he can have them join him on the sideline.
Who's grabbing the ball? Punt team out here. Okay, Kyle.
He's trying to get his punt team organized so he can give them the instructions that he wants them to have.
Chris Williams of Dillard pleading his case over something or other. There you see 17-14 with 1:16 to go. Manatee has 2 timeouts remaining. Roach will go back there to field the snap. First one went right over his head. Manatee setting up for the return. That's a high short kick, not a returnable kick. It hits at the 48-yard line and will be down right around midfield. Manatee will start at its own 49 with 1:06 to go in the first half. And this is how we got to this point at 17-14. An interception set Manatee up at the 4-yard line. 2 plays later, it was 7-zip. Then Dillard, a long drive for a touchdown to tie it at 7. A 47-yard Robert Stevenson field goal made it 10-7 Manatee. And then Dillard again, a long drive over 80 yards to make it 14-10, but the bad snap on the punt again sets up Manatee for a short drive and the go-ahead score. 1 minute left in the first half, clock running. They go with the option right, and Taggart gets it about 5 yards to the 46 of Dillard, where it'll be 2nd and 5. Lewis made the tackle.
You know, that Hurricane offense, Larry, probably came out on the field and they were disappointed. They said, oh, thanks a lot. We got the ball on the 50-yard line, you know. I mean, you know, the worst field position that they've had. And they're on the 50, inside the opponent's 45-yard line.
And they're not using a timeout. More than 20 seconds ran off the clock from the end of that play. Taggart going deep. He's got his man down the sideline. Touchdown, Mike Constantino.
Well, it's a great fake to the fullback on the play action. Mike Constantino flies down the sideline. Tobias Simpkins, the cornerback, hesitates momentarily. And that just one hesitation allows Constantino to fly by him. And Willie Taggart delivered the strike.
Willie Taggart's 11th touchdown pass of the year. He has been intercepted just 1 time. The extra point misses badly. I don't know if there was something with the hold, but Stevenson missed badly on that kick after being most impressive throughout this first half.
There's Constantino along the sidelines. We're going to take another look. Watch the quick fake to the fullback. There's the play action. Willie Taggart has all kinds of time. Simpkins was looking in the backfield, taking a peek, and that's all that Constantino needed to fly right by him. And the free safety, Pat Lowe, had no opportunity at all to get over there and help.
9th touchdown reception of the year for Constantino. And Coach Joe Kinnan's team, they like 2-play scoring drives, don't they?
Well, they worked a lot harder that time, though. 51 yards. We were teasing that Hurricane offense about having to go 4 yards, having to go 8 yards. This time, let's tip our hat to those guys. That was a beautiful effort by their offense. 51 yards.
A 6-yard run by Taggart and a 45-yard pass from Taggart to Constantino. And with just 17 seconds left in the half, it's a 9-point Manatee lead. We'll see if that missed extra point comes back to haunt the Hurricanes at all. Little squibber on the kickoff, and it's still a loose ball. Manatee's got it at the 26-yard line with a field goal kicker who can hit from 50.
Was that number 42?
Troy Wortham.
He's a happy Hurricane. The ball takes a crazy bounce and then it's mishandled in the wedge. It's the crazy bounce and then the bit of mishandling, and Manatee has a chance for more points here.
And Dillard has to call timeout. because they were not ready to play, and Manatee was. 4 seconds ran off the clock. With 13 seconds to go, Taggart and company could take 1 or 2 shots at the end zone. At the moment, it would be a 43-yard field goal, right, maybe a 45-yarder, and it's right down the middle.
Yeah, I would think maybe 1 more shot and then get out there, take your time, and let Stevenson do his thing.
There you see Robert Stevenson. You know he'd like to make up for missing on that extra point. We never did see if it was a bad hold or if he just slipped a little bit. He hooked it really nastily. But he's got a chance perhaps to put 3 more on the board in the closing seconds of this first half. And what a turnabout. The way Dillard was dominating. They had the ball at their end of the field. Manatee gets a 3 and out, the bad snap, and since then nothing has gone right for the Panthers from Fort Lauderdale. Well,
we mentioned Dillard is giving all kinds of help and assistance. They talk about Hurricane Andrew and giving all the assistance to the people after that terrible situation. Here Dillard's turning around and helping a hurricane. My goodness, you can't do that.
Let's see how Manatee plays at the ball at the 26. Taggart threw for a touchdown on his last play with a man in motion. Taggart looking down the middle. He doesn't want to get sacked, and that's exactly what will happen. Manatee needs to call time, and they do with 4 seconds remaining, but Taggart ends up giving back only a yard or so because he was thrown forward by James Roscoe.
Right. You said he didn't want to take a sack, meaning a 7 or 8 yard loss, and fortunately for him that was not the case. He did have to eat the football. It was for a loss, but about 1 yard. So here we go.
And he moved the ball a little bit closer to the middle, so it'll be a 44-yard field goal attempt. Might be 43 officially because of where the spot is. It will be 43. And Stevens, who has already hit from 47 in this game, will now get to wait it out as Dillard uses its final timeout.
I think they're trying to ice him a little bit, maybe.
They're just grateful they don't have to snap it on this play. It's been a tough first half for Dillard. The team comes into the state championship game and amasses close to 200 yards in the first half, and they could be down by 12 if this field goal is good. There's also Robert Stevenson. He wasn't the part of either team's huddle. He had his own little meeting with the kicking tee.
Well, that's what you should do. Leave the kicker alone. Don't say anything to him. Leave him alone. Just do your job. Let him try and do his.
Now you'll have a great view from straight on. He certainly has a strong enough leg. We've seen that. And it's blocked. That ball can be returned, but will not be returned for a score as Roscoe blocked it. Dillard recovers deep in Manatee territory, but Dillard finally gets a break late in the first half. They block the field goal attempt to keep the score the same.
From the top of your screen, we think it was James Roscoe, number 96.
And Doc Pollard of Manatee has got to do a better job on that block. He just let Roscoe run right by him. Let's go down to the field to Art Schifrin.
Coach really dominated in this game early, but then some mistakes in the kicking game and some penalties kind of turned it over to Manatee. What can you do to change that around?
Well, we're going into halftime, make some adjustment, and sell our kids down. Let them know we have a second half of ball to play and that we can get back into this football game.
What kind of a second half team has your team been over the year?
Like I said, when we have to, like I said, we'll be a great second half team. And we'll come back at the second half, we'll make some adjustment, and we'll come ready to go.
Okay, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
No question, Dillard got a lift emotionally on the blocked field goal, and we'll be back with the second half for our halftime. First of all, we'll have our halftime here on Sports Channel after this timeout. Manatee with a 9-point lead at intermission. Well, we're just about ready for the start of the second half of this ball game. Fort Lauderdale, Dillard. If you look at the stat sheet, you would think Dillard's on top with the offensive advantage, and you can really add 32 yards to that because of that bad snap. They had almost 200 yards gained in the first half.
Yeah, I think physically, the Dillard Panthers have been in control of this first half. They're on the short end of the stick in terms of the score. Manatee had some great opportunities via the interception and the bad punt attempt, the snap going over the head of the punter. And then Manatee also had one excellent 51-yard drive to get their 23 points. But really, Dillard has done a good job matching up with the #1 ranked team in the state in the 5A division, the Manatee Hurricanes, and perhaps they can get back into this thing, but they've got, first of all, to give the ball to the Hurricanes.
Late in the first half, Robert Stevenson, the kicker, was limping. We saw it after the missed extra point, as if he had injured himself in some way. We're going to get a report on him as quickly as we can, because during warm-ups prior to the start of this third quarter, Jay Cross, who is the backup kicker, was practicing some field goals for Manatee. As soon as we can find out the details, we'll let you know. Bolden kicks off. Wiggins from the 10-yard line. Wiggins busts through the pack and returns it all the way out to the 40, where Manatee will start out first down. Pat Lowe, the defensive back, on coverage with the tackle. A 30-yard return for Chevin Wiggins.
Chevin Wiggins does a beautiful job here of just sprinting north and south. You know, he hits the crease that's there. He hits it full speed. If it's not there, it's going to be a huge collision. If it's there, he's through it in an instant.
So from the 40, second man through. And picking up good yardage is Chevin Wiggins to the 48. Pat Lowe, the free safety, who made the tackle on Wiggins on the kick return, does it again here on first down after a gain of 8.
Dan Latcher again pulling to help on that trap block.
Important early drive for both these teams. Manatee wants to establish their control of this game, perhaps add to their lead. Dillard needs to keep it within range, trailing by 9 at intermission. It's the fullback, Hill, and he's close to the first down, right near the 50-yard stripe.
Cornelius Hall, the defensive end, and Derek Hicks, number 62, the defensive tackle, that time stuffing the ball very near the line of scrimmage.
And it is a first down right on the 50-yard line.
Well, a terrific opportunity for the Hurricanes. They're right back at midfield. You know, they've had such tremendous field position all night long, and here they start the second half at midfield.
There you see the Manatee has had great field position all day long. That has helped them since Dillard has outgained the Hurricanes. Taggart on the option, keeps it himself, and he falls forward for about 3. Richard Lewis, along with James Roscoe, make the tackle.
I don't think we've seen the ball pitched to the tailback in the true option attack all night long. Dillard's done a great job of forcing the quarterback, Willie Taggart, inside, not allowing him to have the pitch to his tailback, who could get wide.
On second down, fake to the fullback. Taggart finally does get the pitch off, and we're going to have a flag trying to make a block on the outside, Mike Constantino, and I think the officials flagged him, and that'll take away the 6-yard gain and send Manatee backwards.
Now, just as we said it, they were able to come to the wide side of the field with that option. The quarterback, Taggart, was able to get outside. He was able to make the pitch, but as you mentioned, the wide receiver was hitting someone in the back.
So they'll move the ball back for the offensive holding, and Manatee will be back in its own end of the field. As far as Robert Stevenson is concerned, the kicker from Bradenton Manatee.
Against White. Replay.
There you see him. And we'll, like we said, we'll have a report for him as soon as we can.
Well, he's trying to warm up. He looked okay right there as he punted the ball into the net.
I just wonder if something happened on that missed extra point. They throw a little screen to the wide side. Wiggins gets through a couple of tacklers and moves forward to the 45-yard line, about 10 yards out of nothing. Pat Lowe made the tackle, but a nice effort from the junior tailback. Let's go down to the field and get that report from Art.
Robert Stevenson's got a pulled groin muscle, but he is practicing punts right now, and he says he will be kicking for the rest of tonight's ball game. Just a pulled groin, but it's not going to keep him out of the game.
Okay, so Stevenson did get injured somewhere. It was obviously after that 47-yard field goal. Remember, he had the next field goal attempt blocked, so we couldn't tell much on that. And he squib kick off that fourth one, if you recall. Wiggins run out of bounds at the 41. He'll be less than a yard shy of a first down.
Well, there's the pitch to the tailback on the short side of the field. These hash marks allow the team to choose whether to run the play to the wide side or to the short side. That time they were on the right hash mark, and they ran right to the short side of the field on the option, and very close to the first down marker, but they've said they've not made it, and they're going to have to go for it or punt the ball away, and they're going for it.
On fourth down, they need a yard. Taggart still has it, and Taggart will be dropped. Where do they spot him? Short of the 40.
I think so.
Dillard holds.
A huge play by the Dillard Panther defense right there. It was a beautiful fake initially to the fullback, but then the team speed of Dillard was able to collapse on the quarterback Taggart before he could pick up. Watch the great fake here. Now they realize the fullback does not have the ball. Look at everyone sprint to Taggart. Richard Lewis, the inside linebacker, number 50 on the tackle.
And now Dillard gets good field position at the 41-yard line, trailing by 9. Big defensive series for the Panthers. And they go on offense for the first time here in the second half.
Oh, fumble.
Fumble. Still loose, and Manatee's got it. Jason Johnson, the junior defensive end.
A poor exchange. The ball was bobbled. I don't think it was a hit that causes the fumble. We're looking at the defense collapse on the ball right there. Jason Johnson ultimately comes up with the ball. Let's see the exchange. Never made. It looked like the back thought it was going to be a fake of pass. Miscommunication. He was not ready to receive the ball at all.
So it's as if Manatee got another yard on that play by Taggart, because they end up just inside the 40, first down. There's the fullback, Hill, and he picks up 5 right up the middle. Richard Lewis, that middle linebacker, has been extremely active today for Fort Lauderdale. Dillard making another tackle, number 50, a 5'11", 175-pound senior.
What is so unbelievable for head coach Ken Scott is the way that his team has literally helped the Hurricanes, gifted major prizes to the Hurricanes in terms of the ball and field position.
Taggart grabbed and slung to the ground by Charles Dorsey. It'll be a loss of about 5.
Dorsey said that's enough gifting. We're going to get angry here. We're going to make something happen on defense. We can't keep giving you guys these opportunities. Watch Big 90 shoot the gap right there, and nothing happens for Willie Taggart there. Nothing good.
Well, Taggart marked back at the 42, so it's a 7-yard loss, bringing up 3rd and 12. The ball at the 42-yard line. Taggart looking to throw for Constantino. He's got it. 1st and goal.
Well, I think the other factor, the other ingredient we have to add in is the big play. The Hurricanes are coming up with a big play, and it's Constantino for the second time tonight. The prior big catch was a touchdown. That time Pat Lowe, the free safety, and Tobias Simpkins, the young fella he beat on the streak for the touchdown earlier, both were in coverage and could not quite make the play on Constantino.
There you see the numbers for the junior wide receiver.
Oh, 79 yards on 2 receptions.
Just a toss sweep. Wiggins hit at the line of scrimmage, might have fought his way forward for a yard. Cornelius Hall along with Aben Johnson.
Here's the pitch outside, trying to get outside. The fullback in the lead. Nice job by that Panther defense there.
Give him a yard. 2nd and goal from the 7, as you saw in Hall in his stance. Taggart just does get the play off. Tried to give it to the fullback Hill, and he is driven backwards by Brian Brown, 226-pound junior.
Beautiful job by the inside linebacker. You know, with the exception of the big play, the Panther defense has really put the brakes on a powerful Hurricane running game. They've been bending a little bit, but they've really done a good job against the rush. It's the big play that's really hurt them, in the horrible field position that the turnovers have given the Hurricanes.
Taggart throws the screen back left side. Wiggins in the end zone, touchdown.
A beautifully designed screen. You'll see Pat Klein, the center, out there. They flow right, they throw back left. Wiggins knows where his help is. He comes inside. He knows there's help there. He knows there's blocks there. Aben Johnson can't make the play. Big touchdown for the Hurricanes and Chevin Wiggins.
And they're going to go for 2 with a 15-point lead. That tells you the kicker's not healthy. Wiggins looking to throw. Has no one to throw it to, and he'll be stopped at the 5-yard line. With a healthy kicker, you kick it and you take that 16-point lead, where it takes 2 touchdowns and 2 two-pointers to tie it.
Well, the Hurricanes are thrilled nonetheless at the big play, and then the screen, beautifully called, well executed.
The 10th
gets
time.
them the first score of the second half.
Sorry, Jim, the 10th time Manatee has reached 29 points in a game this season.
What a beautiful play call, though. You get the flow, the speed of the defense chasing you to the right. You throw back to the left. And there's those blocks we were talking about. Pat Klein doing a great job out there, the center.
We see Stevenson, who did not try the extra point. Taggart is now 4 for 4 for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's see if Stevenson tries to kick deep. 15-point lead, still 5:04 to go in the 3rd. Dillard needs some big plays on both sides of the ball now. It was an uncharacteristically long drive for Manatee after 3 two-play touchdown drives, and Stevenson, well, so much for the theory that he really is hurt awfully bad. He gets another touchback.
Must be someone else's groin that's injured. Or a miracle recovery.
A 6-play scoring drive. Manatee's 4 touchdown drives have now totaled 12 plays. All set up by that fumble when Dwan Marshall didn't expect the ball. He was bluffing as if he was getting a draw play. And son of a gun if the quarterback, Lamont Kane, didn't try to give him the ball. On first down, that's Marshall. Still on his feet, fights forward for about 6.
Oh, what a great effort. Dwan Marshall gets pounded at the line of scrimmage. Watch this hit. Foul. He bounces off of Chris Smith's hit. Puts his arm down, dives forward, gets every inch he can. Juwan Marshall, number 23, one of those 4 backs alternating in that 1-back offense.
On 2nd and 4, they run it again. Fumbled by Roach, and Manatee recovers. Nick Pagnotta on the recovery. Look at Roach all the way down in the north end zone.
Well, he thinks he's down, obviously. He's complaining about the call. No way, though. He was not on the ground. His hip, his backside, nothing was on the ground as that ball flew.
And Chris Roach, to say he's taking it hard would be an understatement. He threw his helmet to the ground, picked up a 15-yard penalty, I believe, in the process as the flag was thrown, and he ran all the way into the corner of the north end zone. Obviously an emotional reaction by that senior.
Yeah, what a tough break. He thought he was down. You saw he said, "I was down," but on the replay it looked like he was spinning around in the air and the ball had come loose.
He wasn't down. And now Manatee not only gets the turnover, but they get the 15 yards to go with it.
What is that, unsportsmanlike conduct, huh?
First down.
There you see Chris Roach. He's a senior. 5'10", 200-pounder. Remember, he got injured earlier on that bad snap on the punt play. And Dillard has called timeout. And they're in danger right now of being put way behind in this game. Down 15 with Manatee at the 18-yard line.
Well, you know, in life there's good luck and bad luck, and the guys in blue tonight, all kinds of bad luck. The guys in red and white, all kinds of good luck. It's an amazing chain of events that's taken place here in this championship battle, but I had a coach one time, Chuck Knox, it's the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, always tell us luck is a residue of design. You're always ready, you're always working, you're always trying to make something happen, and when it comes, you deserve it. And so the Hurricanes have had the good fortune tonight, and they might take another step towards increasing their advantage here as they have the ball inside the 20.
Well, you know, it's really true, because how many times did you hear how lucky Georgia was against Florida over in Jacksonville, or how lucky Miami was in all their close games this year, how lucky Notre Dame is all the time. Good teams are lucky.
That's
it just
right.
Turns out that way.
You make your own luck, as it were.
You see the numbers on Willie Taggart.
Yeah, look at that. Willie needs to go buy a lottery ticket. Talking about luck. 4 of 4.
There's Wiggins. Nice open field tackle out on the corner by Tobias Simpkins.
Of course, they have that $1 million drawing on Saturday night. He'll have some time before maybe to drop by 7-Eleven and get one.
I'm going to follow him and get the same numbers.
There you see Tobias Simpkins. He's had his hands full at the cornerback position, covering Mike Constantino on his deep routes and also trying to force that option. It really puts that cornerback in a pickle.
Not much of a gain on the play, maybe a foot. Wiggins looking to pass again. This time he will throw it, and it's a touchdown. Coming back for the ball, making the catch is Jay Cross.
Jay Cross this time lines up across from Tobias Simpkins. The tailback is going to throw the ball all the way. Wiggins tries to get the ball down the field.
Boy, we have to
it was hard to see on that. You got to slow that one down. Did he make the catch or not? There was a bobble. He seemed to bobble it a little bit, but did it hit the ground or not? Did it bounce into his hands? We'll take another look in a moment.
Jay Cross will try the extra point. He's the backup place kicker. Bad snap. They'll have to run for it. Wiggins gets it. And then sometimes, even if you don't deserve good luck, if you're good, you make something out of it. And that time Wiggins couldn't handle a high snap, turns it into a 2-point conversion. Let's take another look at the touchdown pass and Jay Cross, the junior wide receiver.
Here we see Wiggins throw the ball. Jay Cross is going to come back for it. It's low. It's low. He's got to get his hands under it. He does. I don't know. I still couldn't make the call.
I would not reverse it if I was a replay official.
No, even slowing it down. We're going to get another look at it right here. That was a quicker look than we anticipated.
Yes, it was.
Our crack director, Phil Welton, in the truck. We got to get. Come on, Philip. Give us another shot there, bud.
The go button is the one we need.
Here we go. Can he make the catch?
His hands are under.
Oh, I don't know.
He may have trapped that one a little bit.
It might have bounced. I don't know. It happened so quickly. Hey, the official, I'm glad the game didn't hinge on that play. I mean, it's obviously really makes it extremely difficult for Dillard to come back, but he had to make that call in an instant, and
we saw the replay 4 or 5 times, and then
couldn't make up our mind.
Can't swear, but it looks like he might have trapped it, at least trapped about half the ball.
Well, and we decided that on the 4th replay.
On the return, that's Demetrius Matthews. And he gets the ball out to about the 21-yard line.
Now what the Panthers have to do right now is get their poise back, get their composure back. Focus on the last 3 minutes of the 3rd quarter and the whole 4th quarter.
And you think of Wiggins, the top tailback. He has caught a touchdown pass. He has run for a 2-point conversion. And there he threw his 2nd touchdown pass of the season to Jay Cross.
A 2-play scoring drive. Manatee with the big play that time after the turnover.
Lamont Kane overthrows one group of receivers, underthrows another. As he sent 3 wide receivers down the right side, it's incomplete. Lamont Kane, who's used to putting the ball up quite a bit, almost 20 attempts per ball game, but he is 4 for 11. He's missed 4 in a row.
Incredibly difficult as you trail the opponent by 23 points to protect your quarterback on every play as he drops back and passes the football. Really, even with this passing attack.
Run a little trap the right side, and Marshall has nowhere to go. Jason Johnson, it's a good-looking defensive end for Manatee.
All the way from the backside.
I love a defensive end with that kind of closing speed. 175-pounder, just a junior with a good 6'2" frame on him. This Manatee team will bring a lot of talent back next year, which I'm sure warms the hearts of coaches in the greater Tampa, Sarasota, Bradenton area. Screen right side. Never develops. No gain at all. Matt Moore and company make the play defensively. There's a late flag. Chris Williams pushing Matt Moore. Moore didn't exactly give in immediately. That flag could go one way, both ways, who knows? Looks like it's going against Williams. It'll be 4th down no matter what. There you see the referee verifying it was a dead ball. Yep, unsportsmanlike on Manatee, or on Dillard. Will move it back to the 11. They'll have 4th and 20, and they'll have to punt it away. Watch Williams give a little shove after the play.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been very disappointed with the last couple of turnovers. You could see the frustration building there. Chris Williams, again, I said poise.
Discipline.
Yeah, and they've lost it here in the 3rd quarter. They've got to recover. Too much football left to play.
4th down.
4th down from the 11-yard line.
Because Manatee will take no prisoners. They will get more points if they can. Dillard really has to try and get this ball out adequately if they can.
Well, Manatee in their 4 state championship playoff games, get an idea. Dixie Hollins 36 points, against Apopka 38, against Orange Park 37. Tonight they've got 37, and as Wiggins fields that punt, looking for the picket line down the left sideline, he slips and falls at the 15. An excellent return by Wiggins of 22 yards, and Manatee has the ball at the Dillard 15-yard line. All Manatee. Dillard led this game at one point 14-10 before that bad snap on the punt.
I don't remember that. It seems like the Hurricanes, you know, what have we seen lately? It's been all Manatee, and you forget the fact that Dillard was really in control of this thing early, with the exception of the big gifts
and all
in
those
terms of field position that they gave Manatee.
And they have cashed in every present. They took it right to the return aisle and got greenbacks. On the draw play, busting tackle, still on his feet, fighting for about 10 yards is Wiggins. I'm impressed with Chevin Wiggins. He throws it, he catches it, he runs hard after he's hit, that time picking up, oh, about 10 yards, 9 yards on the play.
Oh, that Dillard Panther defense really has to buckle up right now, dig in, stop this onslaught, or they're going to get buried here in the state championship ball game.
Well, if form holds, Manatee should score on this play. 4 of their 5 scoring drives have been 2 plays. They did have one long, drawn-out 6-play drive. Oh. Taggart on the option. Couldn't decide whether to pitch or not, got himself tangled up and didn't even pick up the first down, I don't believe, just inside the 7.
Well, this drive's going to be a disaster then, right? It's going to take them 3 or 4 plays to score, so.
You remember, when you watch Willie Taggart, you think of the guy, Tommy Frazier, is the freshman starting quarterback at Nebraska as a true freshman, running this offense last year for Bradenton Manatee. The one thing Joe Kinnan does, even though he runs most of the time, his quarterbacks can throw and make big plays. Taggart with 2 touchdown passes. On 3rd and 1, Wiggins fights through 1 tackle, but got it down near the 6-yard line. Depending on the spot, he may or may not have the first down.
That also tells you a lot about the quality of coaching at Bradenton Manatee, to have your quarterback who runs your option attack walk on the campus of Nebraska as a true freshman and run their option attack.
They are short of the first down by less than a foot. 4th down.
Not even thinking about the field goal.
With the fullback straightened up, Hill driven back. Manatee is 0 for 2 on 4th down, and Dillard has held. And tip your hat to Dillard. Brian Brown making the hit, but their defense has not given up on this game.
Yeah, that's a huge play right there. Who was that? Brian Brown made the great tackle. I mentioned they had to dig in, they had to buckle up, and did Brian Hill ever do the job? Now the offense can come back out and try and regroup. Had a little time on the sideline. Nothing tragic happened after that turnover.
Dillard in the huddle.
Punt return, excuse me.
And only about 12 seconds to go to get a playoff before the end of the 3rd quarter. They may or may not do it. If they do, it will be the last play of the quarter. Busted play. Kane on the keeper, running right side, will run out of bounds at the 9-yard line. He picked up 1. And that will be the final play of the 3rd quarter of the Florida High School Class 5A State Football Championship. 2 third-quarter touchdowns has given Manatee a 23-point lead. Manatee leads Dillard 37-14 as we begin the 4th quarter. You know, you can relive some of America's great moments in baseball on baseball's greatest games every week right here on Sports Channel. Big games from baseball's regular season, postseason, and all-star game. Check your local listings for availability in your area. There's a loss for Dillard, and a personal foul will be called on Goulash. who fell on top of the quarterback, Lamont Kane, at the 1-yard line. So that's a break. Gives Dillard a first down, and let's go down to the field to Art Schifrin.
Well, Larry, the Dillard bench feels like the officials are giving every break over to Manatee. They're very upset with the officiating, but they're trying to keep the team under control, and they're not giving up. They still feel like they might be able to win this game, although they feel it will take the best quarter that they've ever played, but they are not giving up on it.
And we could see that from their defense, but there have not been many borderline calls. Maybe that touchdown catch by Cross may or may not have been a trap, but the others that Dillard has protested have been pretty much verified on the replays.
I think so, yeah.
So here's the 15 yards marked off against Manatee.
Their first big penalty of the night.
12 penalties, over 100 yards between the two teams.
Personal foul against a white team. Gonna be third down.
I thought all personal fouls were automatic first downs in high school. Maybe if they're not dead ball personal fouls. Whatever the case, it's at the 17, 3rd and 1. They fake the draw. The throw down the middle, caught. A lunging catch is made in the middle of the field by Kevin Jackson. Senior wide receiver up the 49-yard line. 31 yards on the pass from Lamont Kane.
The safety falls down, stumbles. Joel Horns tried to turn, recover, but he tripped and allowed the ball to get thrown over his head.
Kane again looking deep down the left sideline. Incomplete. Weldon Carter wants to get a flag. He doesn't get one for interference. And he's fortunate not to get one for unsportsmanlike conduct. You yank your helmet off, you're asking for it.
I don't know. It was close. Hickson in coverage. He was diving. I don't think that he made contact before the ball got there.
Weldon Carter, the wide receiver, he's a senior. It's the seniors that are losing their control for Dillard, and the youngsters who come in and make big plays like that linebacker Brian Brown. 2nd and 10 from the 49. On the ground, nice play. Closing in defensively, Justin Stevens.
Yeah, my apologies to Justin Stevens. I had a typo on my roster in the first half, and I inadvertently called him Stevenson. I'm sorry, Justin. Justin Stevens playing a beautiful game here tonight for Manatee. Great tackle right there, and another salute to the press box side of the stadium.
Which happens to be where the Dillard fans are sitting. 3rd down, 5 tackles in the game for Stevens. Kane running out of trouble. Throws it deep down the middle, wide open. He's got his man, and it is caught by Tyrone Parker, the tight end, at the 4-yard line. The Manatee secondary is not playing like a team 23 points up.
Well, it's a scramble all the way as Lamont Kane is running for his life, but sees the wide open Parker, Tyrone Parker, who's listed number 2 on the depth chart at tight end, but he made a beautiful catch there. And finally Dillard gets inside the Hurricane 5-yard line.
Dillard down by 23. They need 3 touchdowns and 3 2-pointers. Up the middle they go. Short of the end zone. Matt Moore makes the tackle. That's Ken Fillmore on the carry. Fillmore, a senior. Of the 4 running backs in the rotation for Dillard, 3 are seniors. The only one who will be back is Dwan Marshall. Inside 10 minutes to go in this game. Manatee by 23. Dillard facing a 2nd and goal. Toss left side, no running room at all. The left tackle leading the way, Willie Benjamin, missed his man. And that opened it up for the Manatee defense to close on Marshall.
Justin Stevens again. Chris Smith again, the inside linebackers. There's the cutback by Roach.
AC Benjamin in the bottom right corner. Frustrated over the missed block. Roach is in at the running back spot on third down. Kane looking to throw in and out of the hands of Kevin Jackson. He really zipped it. And Dillard will call timeout on fourth down.
There you see the scramble to the left. Kevin Jackson, off his shoulder pads, glanced off his shoulder pads before he could get his hands on it.
Ken Scott having a word or two for Kevin Jackson about getting your hands out in front of your body. Coaches teach that all the time because a ball that's thrown that quickly, if it hits the pad, is going to ricochet away as quickly as you can imagine. 8:58 to go in the fourth quarter. Bradenton Manatee, which has scored the last 27 points in this game after trailing 14-10, has a 37-14 lead. Dillard using one of its timeouts here to regroup and plan this fourth down play, which they simply have got to get. Again, 3 touchdowns, 3 two-point conversions for them to catch up.
Well, the last time we said the Dillard defense had to stop the Hurricanes or it was certainly all over, and they did it. And now we're saying that the Dillard offense has to get in the end zone if they have any chance at all, and that's exactly the situation. Fourth and goal. Ball on the 2.
Hickson and Roach both in there, the first time that we have seen 2 running backs in the game at the same time for Dillard. Manatee, recognizing an offensive alignment they were not prepared for, calls timeout on their side.
A bit of a power eye on short yardage, goal line.
There's the Manatee band, Bradenton Manatee High School, the Hurricanes, looking for their 4th state championship. They won the 4A title in '83, 5A championships in '85 and '89. Manatee scored first in this ball game. The Hurricanes took advantage of an interception by linebacker Justin Stevens to set them up first down at the 4-yard line. The quarterback Taggart took it in to make it 7-0. Dillard responded with a long scoring drive of their own. A pass to Williams from Kane, setting up the Roach scoring run. We were tied at 7. Robert Stevenson then answered with a 47-yard field goal to put Manatee on top. And Dillard came right back. Kane to Carter from 28 yards out. It was 14-10. Since then, all Manatee, since the bad snap sent them up for 1 score. Taggart 45 yards to Constantino late in the first half. And here in the second half, Taggart completing a pass, as did Wiggins, the tailback. Wiggins also ran it in for the 2-point conversion, and that's how we got to where we are. 4th and goal. Kane on the naked bootleg, throws, it's batted away.
Great defense. Excellent call. Great defense. Chris Smith bats the ball away, the inside linebacker. He and Justin Stevens have done a super job at inside linebacker. This is a great call. Flow goes right, quarterback goes left. Who's that in the face right there? 82.
That's Jason Johnson again.
Jason Johnson with a beautiful play. You see him throw his arm in the sky. He knew he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Get upfield, get upfield, get upfield. And when he got upfield, he wasn't watching flow. He ran right into the face of the quarterback. If he'd been pursuing, going with the flow, not doing his individual job, the quarterback would have been outside on the bootleg very easily.
Dillard drove all the way from their own 8-yard line, and now Manatee will take delay of game. No, they call timeout before that clock runs out. The delay of game penalty only costs you a foot and a half, but at this point the timeout's not too valuable to the Hurricanes. They just want to get out from their own end zone, and they were still in the huddle with about 8 seconds left on the play clock.
What's that commercial? Why ask why?
Yes. Because we're supposed to ask why. That's why we're here.
Well, it's also high school football, and sometimes they do what they want to do out there, you know. If they want to call timeout, they call timeout.
And if we want to show you some great college basketball, that's exactly what we're going to do here on Sports Channel. We've got the best in college basketball with the Florida Gators, South Florida Bulls, JU Dolphins, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and exciting conference action from all over the country. Be sure to keep up with college basketball right here on Sports Channel. Check your local listings for dates, times, and matchups in your area. Well, the Dillard defense trots back out on the field. Less than 9 minutes to go in the Florida 5A championship game. 3 years ago, Manatee won the 5A championship by defeating Miami Carroll City over in Daytona Beach. The first time it was at a neutral site. Manatee was the 5A champion here. The fourth time, the second time in Gainesville, and Manatee well on their way to the title. Give an inside handoff to the fullback Hill. Not much running room at all. Dillard tackle made by Stephen Doe. His brother John gets a lot of publicity. I shouldn't have done that, should I?
You know, I was reading a little history on this state championship setup, and I recall watching on television the first ever high school state championship battle between Coral Gables and Tampa Robinson back in 1964. And the quality of football has obviously grown by leaps and bounds in the state of Florida, and so has the format for creating a state champion.
They ran up the middle that time. Hill got about 9 yards, third down, less than a yard. Dexter McNair made the tackle. First time we've called his name.
Actually, that was Gables out of the Miami area against Robinson out of the Tampa area. This is Dillard out of Broward County against the guys from the other coast. Bradenton Manatee.
Inside handoff, and big yardage is made for a first down. Chris Hill all the way up near the 20-yard line before Pat Lowe made the tackle. Of course, that telecast was in black and white.
Yes,
right?
It was.
Probably with 2 cameras.
It was a great high school football game. In those days, Gables used to dress out over 100 guys on their football team.
That's a bunch. A lot of schools can't afford that much equipment. On first down, they stay with the inside running, and they're going ahead for about another 6 or 7 yards is Chris Hill.
Yeah, that Dillard defense, I think, is just finally wearing down. They just made a huge stand a little while ago, thinking that perhaps there'd be a chance for their offense to come back, and the offense did come back, but were not able to convert into any points. And very difficult for these defenders right now to put the brakes on this powerful Hurricane running game.
There's a little trap running left side. That's Wiggins, and he's got another first down across the 30.
Once again, that little trap led by Dan Latcher, number 61, the right guard.
And that Bradenton offensive line really played well here in the second half.
Yeah, let's talk about them. Pat Klein, the center. Brad Loudermilk, the other guard on the left side. Scott Boyce, the big left tackle. Keith McMahon, the huge right tackle. There we take a look at Doc Pollard, obviously discouraged and disappointed as all the guys from Dillard are.
There's Hill. Hill rambles across the 40. He's got a dozen and a first down at the 44. Chris Hill, just a junior.
Take a look at those guys up front.
Look at McMahon, 13 yards downfield, just shoving the linebacker Doe every step of the way.
300 pounds of offensive right tackle. Obviously, he's getting a lot of attention from major colleges.
It's not often you hear a public address announcement in the middle of the play, but here we go. There's Hill gets 2 or 3 yards.
Thank you.
Let's see, Manatee with 4 more minutes of possession time, and they were down, what, about 4 minutes at halftime. So it's been all Manatee, yardage-wise and scoring-wise. In the second half, they've outscored Dillard 14-zip. The give is to Wiggins. Wiggins in the open field, inside the 45 and down to the 42-yard line.
Let's take a look at the pulling guard. Latcher and Keith McMahon on the right side. It's like that counter tray that the Washington Redskins made so famous.
Robert Brown, please report to gate 3.
I think Keith McMahon's bigger than Joe Jacoby.
He might be.
Joe Jacoby.
I didn't think anyone was bigger than Joe Jacoby.
I tell you what, this kid's 6'6", 300, and he's only probably 18 years old. What's he going to be when he's 28 years old?
Big.
And scary, huh?
And probably well paid. Keith McMahon. You get people around the state talking about the top linemen in the state. It doesn't take long to get to Keith McMahon's name. They tried with him at defensive tackle during spring practice early in the year, and he wasn't particularly comfortable, made the switch back to offense and didn't play well early in the season. People kind of stopped talking about him, but the last 2 months of the season, he has been a dominating player, and every time we show a replay, he's running out from that right tackle spot, going through the hole and sealing off some linebacker to make big running room.
Yeah, they're celebrating in that huddle right now. The Hurricanes are. They realize they're on the threshold of a state championship, as Ken Scott in disbelief along the sidelines. Obviously, so much bad luck has happened to his team tonight. So many unfortunate things that he could not have predicted would happen have happened to his team.
1st and 10 at the Dillard 42. There's Wiggins. Wiggins will go. Chevin Wiggins for the touchdown from 42 yards away.
Well, this is a well-oiled machine right here. Off tackle, the big block by Boyce on the left side, the lead block by the fullback. Look at the block downfield by number 21.
That's Cross.
Jay Cross, who caught the touchdown pass earlier. That's just the backside block there.
First Jay Cross on the extra point. It wobbles on through. Let's go back to McMahon at the end of that play. What? What on earth? Is he a drama major?
Hey, he's been working hard. He's excited.
44-14, Bradenton Manatee here in the 5A championship game. If you're thinking about scoring records, Manatee will have to score again. The record for the 5A championships, which began back in 1985, Manatee and Pensacola Pine Forest. Manatee in 85, Pine Forest in 88, each scored 50.
I was at that Pine Forest game when they scored the 50 points, I think, against Bradenton Southeast.
Pensacola Woodham. Oh, Pine Forest was against Sarasota Riverview.
Sarasota Riverview.
John Sprague's
right.
team.
Sarasota, of course, right up the coast from, right down the coast from Bradenton, excuse me.
Manatee scored its on Pensacola Woodham. Woodham scored 22, Riverview 27. So at this point, the 30-point lead would be the biggest margin of victory in 5A championship history.
Well, and there's a shade under 5 minutes to go, so it's not out of the realm of reality for them to score.
Stevenson does it again. Robert Stevenson. He hasn't been kicking the extra points, but still with those kickoffs, just lines it into the end zone. You can talk all you want about McMahon as a prospect, and obviously he's a tremendous offensive line prospect, but I've never seen a guy with 5 touchbacks kicking off in one ball game. Remarkable kickoffs from Robert Stevenson.
And he's a sophomore, correct?
Yes, he is. There's Keith McMahon. And let's see how Dillard plays it. 4:47 to go in the game. Deep down the middle, overthrown. Tried to throw a little seam route running down the middle of the field for Dillard. That was Nakia Johnson. Correction, 84, Clarence Gallagher.
Seeing some more new players on the field now for Dillard.
Dillard got here with playoff wins over Coconut Creek, Vero Beach, and Miami Senior High. This is their first 5A championship game. They were in the 4A finals in '89 and '90, winning once, losing once. Little delay, nothing doing. It'll be the loss of a yard or two. Goulash is there along with Pat Green, Jason Johnson. And Dillard gave Anthony Roll a chance to carry the ball here in the championship game, and the Panthers letting a few more guys get in there, and that's going to be a great experience for them to be able to say they played in the championship game. They probably won't bring up the score. It's been a Bradenton Manatee show, and Dillard doesn't have to look far to find a culprit. Just in the mirror, the mistakes the Panthers made really hurt them. Kane running to his left, throwing deep down the sideline and incomplete. Trying to get it to Kevin Jackson. Hickson and Horns were back defensively for Manatee, and it's 4th down for Dillard.
Not much clock used because they had to throw the ball. The ball falling incomplete stops the clock, and looks like the Hurricanes are going to get back that football near the 50-yard line with 3:52 to go. And that offense has gotten so cranked up that, as we mentioned, it's not impossible that they won't get additional points before this thing is over.
Roach handles the snap. Wobbly kick hits at the 46-yard line, and it bounces out of bounds at about the Manatee 47. And Manatee sends a lot of fresh, clean jerseys out on the field as their second offensive unit will get a chance to play in the final 4 minutes. Joe Kinnan, to use an old football cliche, has called off the dogs, putting in his second unit with a 30-point lead. Chevin Wiggins, what an impressive young athlete he is. 11 carries, 93 and a score. Receiving 2 for 18 and a score. He threw an 18-yard touchdown pass and ran for a 2-point conversion. And he's a junior.
Oh. Of course, Chevin Wiggins came into this ball game with over 1,400 yards rushing. He was the #2 receiver on this ball club. Only 12 catches, but still, this is a team that doesn't throw that much.
Michael Raygood is in at quarterback, junior, 5'10", 141-pounder. All new players except for the fullback, Chris Hill, still in the game. And a couple of first downs would let Manatee run out the clock. They run the toss sweep with 23, Doc Pollard. And Pollard gets a yard or two before he's knocked over by Nakia Johnson, a backup corner. Some of the other guys into the game for Bradenton Manatee get their names on there. Brian Garnett in at a wide receiver. Troy West, Rocky Fiorini checking into their lineup. We'll see if we can catch a few other names. Andy Johnson in at one wide receiver spot. These kids work all year. They get a chance to play in the state final. Zach Hunter as an offensive lineman in the game.
Those jerseys are white, aren't they?
They are very clean.
Oh, the knee goes down.
Flags on the play. Looked like they were trying to run a reverse with the wideout, Troy West, and everything fell apart. Let's check out the flag. 2:15 to go in the 5A championship game.
That seemed to be a breakdown on the play.
We'll see if it's a play where they can decline the penalty or if they can, or not. Is it dead ball?
We have illegal procedure against White. Decline. 4th down.
Punt team. Punt team. That's what he's saying.
Scott Womack, backup linebacker, goes in on the punt team. They're probably not sure exactly who the second punt team unit is, so they get a lot of the regulars back out there.
Pitch the darn ball. Is that what he said, I think?
words to that effect.
That's his quarterback of the future, possibly, and he's just making sure he understands what he wants done out there.
Manatee apparently took another delay of game penalty to move the ball back to the 41-yard line. 1:49 to go in the 5A championship game. Jacksonville University Christian, the 1A champ. Frostproof in 2A. Dade City Pasco 3A. Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas High School, the 4A champs. And Bradenton Manatee just 109 ticks of the clock before they are the 5A champs.
Whoa.
Whoa, look at the kick from Stevenson. Fair catch signaled for and taken by Sean Williams at about the 17-yard line. A 44-yard punt from that sophomore with the great kickoffs. And Dillard will have one more possession. 1:38 on the clock, and Dillard with one timeout remaining.
A little celebrating going on in the stands on the side of Bradenton Manatee, the Hurricanes.
And a frustrating time for the Dillard fans, but not everyone has taken it so badly. Yes, still number one.
Yeah, sometimes the cheerleaders aren't even sure what the score is. They're just over there having a good time, and that's what high school's about, right?
I always thought so. I had teachers who thought otherwise. And Dillard goes on offense. Lamont Kane still in there. Running to his right. Throws the ball incomplete. And a little pushing after the play. Kane is now 7 out of 20. He has missed 5 in a row. He has just 3 of his last 13.
Well, you got to realize also the circumstances in which he's working. His team's trailing by 30 points now. Every time he goes back to throw, he's under tremendous pressure. Not the kind of situation you want to be in.
Manatee getting some defensive reserves in there. And a running play gets to about the 18-yard line. Those guys are fired up. They haven't had a chance to hit anyone in weeks.
Substitutions by Dillard as well.
Anthony Roll checking out of the lineup. Robert Archer, a wide receiver, checks in on 3rd down. Clock stopped. Not sure why, but it is stopped. Now they start it up again. Nearing the 1-minute mark to go in this 5A title game. Quarterback draw opens up nicely for Kane across the 25, knocked out of bounds. At the 28-yard line, looks like he got the 1st down.
Lamont Kane, a tremendous athlete, as we've mentioned all night long. He's projected to be possibly a defensive back, wide receiver,
or obviously he's got the talent to try and play quarterback if he wants to, but he certainly will have a shot at playing a lot more football at the college he chooses to attend.
And they're going to measure for the first down with 54 seconds left in a 44-14 game. I say give them the first down and start the clock again. Not a favorable spot at all for Dillard, moving the ball from the 28-yard line back closer to the 27. But it's still first down yardage for the Dillard Panthers. 11-2. One of those losses was a forfeit after winning a game against Deerfield Beach. Their other loss to St. Thomas Aquinas. So the Dillard Panthers can take, I think, some pride in knowing the only teams that beat them in 1992 were state champs.
Well, and especially their first year in the 5A division, the real big school division. They've been in 4A, which is a terrific division in its own right, but this is the real big guys, the big schools. And they moved up a level and competed for the state championship. So, hey, that's a terrific season.
54 seconds to go. Just a quick route. Sliding down safely at the 38-yard line. And another first down. Joe Kinnan got the shower. Looks real happy. That's right. I told you guys, get 2 hands on each side of that bucket when you dump it. That way there's more on me, less spill it. Tell you one thing though, if you're never satisfied, you keep improving, I suppose. And Joe Kinnan has had a great program for a long, long time at Manatee. And there's a roughing the passer flag thrown after the incomplete pass. Kane took exception to it, and that'll be a penalty on Manatee. And those young Manatee players not trying to rub it in, but they're just getting some action. They want to make something happen, and they take a penalty in the process.
Weldon Carter was the intended receiver, streaking deep down the field.
Steve Reed, junior defensive lineman, spun Lamont Kane to the ground, so it'll be roughing the passer, a 15-yard penalty with 28 seconds to go in this game.
Those folks are saying, let's get this thing over and celebrate on our way back to Bradenton.
And now they'll walk off the 15-yard penalty. Joe Kinnan's 4th state championship. The 83 4A title, 5A titles in 85, 89, and now in 92.
Have a personal foul against White. Be first down blue.
That's something. 4 state titles in 10 years. Pensacola Pine Forest won 2 state 5A titles in 87 and 88. Manatee with 4 of them. The other 5A champs, Choctawhatchee, along with Lakeland Senior High School, and the co-champs last year, Orlando Evans and Miami Southridge. Long pass down the right side, jump ball, it's incomplete. Kevin Jackson trying to pull it down for Dillard, couldn't do it.
Looks like Doc Pollard, number 23 for Manatee, made the break up.
There's big Keith McMahon. 300-pounder, led his team to the state title, but he's the big guy. But Chevin Wiggins, tremendous talent, number 40 for Bradenton Manatee, did a little bit of everything in this game.
That was Joel Horns back there breaking it up. He's the starting safety, and he's back there right now trying to knock away any deep touchdown pass attempt.
Kane trying to get away from the pass rush. Still running, and now he will be tackled back at the 32-yard line. 5 seconds to go. The clock winds down. And the Bradenton Manatee High School Hurricanes, for the 4th time in 10 years, have claimed a state championship. It is their 3rd 5A title in just 8 seasons. Joe Kinnan and company celebrating out on the field. Dillard led this game 14-10. Manatee with 34 unanswered points after falling behind by that 14-10 count. And those 34 unanswered points lead them to the state championship. Let's go down to the field. Art Schifrin is on the field with Coach Joe Kinnan. Art, go ahead, take it.
We got a
Coach, tell us about the game. What did you think was the key plays for you there?
Well, a lot of big plays. We forced some turnovers and were able to capitalize on them. It was, you know, we played hard, and I think in the second half we turned it up another level.
Talk about Wiggins, just a great performance there.
Played great. You know, the kids have played hard all year, and you know, it's a fitting tribute to them and how hard they've worked this year.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck. Thanks a lot.
We'll return to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field in Gainesville after this timeout. Bradenton Manatee, a 30-point winner. Well, Bradenton Manatee put on an impressive second half performance, outscoring Fort Lauderdale Dillard 21-0 after intermission. Coach Ken Scott of Dillard is on the field with Art Schifrin.
Coach, tough ball game here. What was the key play that went against you there?
Well, I think the key play when we had the ball back, we came back the second half, and we had the ball deep and stopped them cold. We came back, we found the ball on first down. Let's get the momentum again. They put it in the end zone. We kind of self-destruct from that point on. The thing just didn't go right for us. I just want to take a great team Manatee had, very good team.
Talk about your defense. They never had any quit in them tonight.
No, they didn't quit. They hung in there. They played football. Like I said, the mistakes killed us. And like I said, against a great football team like Manatee, you can't make no kind of mistake and come out ahead.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach, and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some of the emotional members of the Dillard Panthers squad, but Florida has now crowned its 5 high school football state champs for 1992 in 1A. It was Jacksonville University Christian. In Class 2A, the Bulldogs of Frostproof in our closest game, a 1-point victory over Newberry. In Class 3A, Dade City Pasco, the state champion. In 4A, Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas. And in Class 5A, tonight it's the Hurricanes of Bradenton Manatee, and this Manatee team awfully impressive. And I guess the one thing that really jumps out is every time Dillard made a mistake, Manatee cashed it in.
And that's the essence of a championship team. They were #1 in their division coming into this football game. They were the favorite, and they really took advantage of everything that Dillard gave them. Dillard really matched up, I thought, evenly with the Hurricanes in the first half, other than those gifts that they gave the Hurricanes. But really, in the second half, the Hurricanes, as Coach Kinnan mentioned, played at another level and really dominated the entire second half, and clearly are the state champions.
You look at kids like Chevin Wiggins, just a junior. What a game that kid played.
Oh, unbelievable, and a lot of talent coming back. As you talked about, just a few seniors on this Hurricane team, so they'll be back maybe, huh?
Well, we certainly hope you've enjoyed Sports Channel's coverage of Florida High School Football Championship action this year. All 5 games right here on Sports Channel, including tonight's 5A contest. We appreciate your tuning in and joining us. I'm Larry Vitale saying so long for Jim Yarbrough, Art Schifrin, and our entire Sports Channel crew. Again, congratulations to all 5 Florida high school football